Hey everybody, it's Sia with Black Petal Gardening, and today is Tuesday. It is in the evening, I think around 7 or so off work, and we are going to revisit the topic of will rosemary impede the growth of other plants, mint in particular, because that's kind of what we did our pseudo experiment on. So let's take a look and see how things have turned out. Okay, so getting right into it, you can see there is mint. So when we first did our pseudo experiment, and you can go see that beginning video on our channel, there was basically nothing in this section of this bed. There were maybe one or two mint stalks, but it was mostly barren. And we made the assumption or the suggestion that that might have been because we had actually trimmed up some of our rosemary bush here, and being lazy, we just kind of chucked that branches over across this area. It sat there for, probably a month and a half, and this was during the early spring, February, maybe even January and February. And so, the rains were coming through, and I am assuming that that means, like the essential oils were coming down into there. And so my thought was, hey, typically we are seeing growth on this side of the bed similar to growth on this other side of the bed. So at this time, now this side definitely already had, mint growing up at the time that we decided to do our little experiment. So what we decided to do, get some more rosemary and put it on the already established mint to see if it would impede more growth, maybe even make it die back a little bit. Well, suffice to say, that did not happen. And as we can see here, eventually over time, this mint did end up growing again. So um, I guess on a surface level, the answer that I would say is no. It's not going to keep things from growing, but I'm putting an asterisk next to that because this really wasn't a very scientific experiment. We didn't have, the same exact conditions for both areas that we were looking at. We didn't have a control. There's a lot of stuff that makes this very loosey goosey. Um, but I will also say that both of these mints, as far as I can remember, didn't usually start to go to seed, start to flower until August. Well, we're at the middle of July right now, and these have actually been flowering for a couple of weeks. So maybe something about what we did affected the growth pattern. These definitely were delayed in growing. Was that due to the rosemary being there? I can't say for sure. Could have been that there was something weird about the weather this year. There's so many different factors that could be at play to explain pretty much anything that is going on in the garden. And because we don't have controlled conditions, you can't necessarily say for sure. So I am going to mark it as a failure for the experiment, but keep an open mind. That's it. That's where we landed. It's kind of anticlimactic. It's not super exciting or fun necessarily, but I did want to make sure I provided a closure video to show, what the end results actually ended up being. And here they are. Alrighty, well, thank you for taking a look and seeing what our conclusions ended up being. If you have any comments, feedback, thoughts on our premise as well as the results, please drop those in the comments. We do read every one, and I try my hardest to reply to all of them as well. And, you know, consider giving us a like, maybe even subscribing, and of course, sharing with anybody that you think would find this video interesting. Alrighty, well, I hope you have a fantastic evening. So take care of yourselves. Bye bye.